Jahmai Webster here alongside Boston Globe's Red Sox beat writer Julie McWilliams. What's going on, man? How you feeling?
Trouble getting in today?
Yeah,
right? You couldn't walk through gate D?
On the morning shift.
But you told me that you know everybody around here, and then the guy said you couldn't come in.
Yeah, that was pretty humbling. I was humbled right away this morning. Couldn't get into the usual gate, but here we are to do the Lord's work. Absolutely. So I'm excited about this and excited to have you along with me for the next hour. We got a bunch of guests as we'll be telling their stories about survival and about current battles with cancer, which is why we're all here this morning as we continue to reach out to you, our viewer, and try to get you to, feel a part of this because cancer has affected us all, and I'm sure you feel the same way about that.
Absolutely. My dad dealt with prostate cancer. And I remember, where I was when he got the diagnosis, and he told me I was in my senior year of college. So, and my grandmother dealt with breast cancer. So it hits us all in some type of way.
Most definitely. My stepfather, he had colon cancer. He lost his battle with that. My grandmother had colon cancer. My uncle had prostate cancer. So it's affecting everybody, and it's why we're here. Because we got to find a cure. I think this has been something that has created a lot of advancements in medicine, and that's what this money goes to. The research, the advancements, the clinical trials, things of that nature to give people an opportunity to continue to try and live their life. And in the meantime, though, we mentioned the Jimmy Fund Radio-Telethon, and we mentioned the Jimmy Fund Clinic, and a lot of people haven't been there, but I had an opportunity to go inside the clinic and meet with some patients several years ago. A lot younger.
Wow.
A lot brighter. Hair a lot shorter, but there's some kids there.
He was a baby.
Yeah, for sure. And he's probably 21 now. But that's when Casey McDonald was with us. She worked at the network, and there she is to my right. Did some things over there just to uplift the kids. I mean, this moment was just about creating a distraction. So we did some arts and crafts, and this is before I even had children myself, but worked a lot in dealing with children when I was in college, and it was one of the jobs that I had working at an elementary school. So I'm great with kids, and it was a good opportunity for me to just, we're going to visit these kids, but for me, I felt like they came to visit me, and we've said that multiple times over the course of the last day and a half because of how much joy you get from being able to put smiles on their faces, because these kids are in the battle of their lives at this point. I mean, we're talking about 7, 8, 10-year-old kids.
So my question for you is, how did that sort of, now that you have your own kids, right, you're 3 deep, playing zone defense, how did that sort of change you? Like, how does your perspective change now?
Well, big time. And I also should mention there's older patients as well that we went to visit as well, but I feel like I'm much more softer now. Mm-hmm. You have your own children because you're in those rooms and you're like, this could be my daughter. This could be my son. And you don't understand how any parent can go through this because as a parent, you're a parent yourself, you feel like you want to protect your children. You want to shield them from everything, and you take the brunt of it, anything.
Yeah.
You want them to kind of coast through life with their health, with their mind, everything being fine, and to not be able to do anything about that's heartbreaking.
Absolutely.
So that hurts. Joined by 2 very special guests. We're happy to have Hannah Walden, 18-year-old, and your mom, Tricia, from Marshfield. How are you guys doing this morning?
We're doing all right. Doing good.
All right, fantastic. We're lucky to have you and glad you're taking some time to share your story now. Hannah, you were diagnosed with alveolar rhabdomyosarcoma. I mean, these are cancers that I can't even pronounce at this point. So I'm curious, when you get a diagnosis like this, when you get information that this is what you're battling, what's your reaction?
Well, at first, I didn't really want to believe it. They phrased it as it was cancerous. I was like, maybe that means it's not cancer, and it's just cancerous, as if that made sense. And then I just eventually had to, think it over and been like, I guess this is what's happening, Wasn't much I could do about it. Started planning, my next steps based on it.
So you sort of kept that same level of, where was your sort of your head? It's because it seemed like that's a really strong thing to do, right? Like you had to deal with the diagnosis and then sort of process it and take action. How, at such a young age, how were you able to do that?
Well, I have some really great friends, like my friend Samantha Lloyd, who has supported me throughout all this. And I have amazing family, my mom, my little siblings, my aunts and uncles and all that, and they've all helped me throughout all of this, my cousins, and it's been great, honestly, because I've gotten a lot closer with them.
Yeah, we're hearing that a lot about the family support, the friendship support, the support from the Jimmy Fund. So I see you over there, Trisha. You got your daughter here in the fight of her life. How has it been for you, and to be going through this and to have to be there every step of the way?
It's been a roller coaster, to say the least. Emotions all over the place. Having to face things you hope you never have to. The Jimmy Fund Clinic, the nurses, the doctors, Lisa, have all been great. Some of them should probably be anointed into sainthood. They make it much easier for us. They help navigate things that we wouldn't know to expect, because it affects pretty much every aspect of our life.
When you say every aspect of your life, just
I mean, more than just her health and that whole battle. School, she missed the majority of her junior year. She's about to start her senior year of high school and hoping to be able to be in person this year, but you never know how you're going to feel, so she's going to go at least as many days as she possibly can. Work, I've had to take a significant amount of time off of work. Her sister and her brother, one just turned 9 and the other is 5. It's affected them at school and everything, just everywhere.
And how are you feeling?
It's been a couple months, and I've adjusted pretty well to the chemotherapy, so I'm feeling pretty good. I was happy yesterday. I went to go in for labs, and my hemoglobin was at a good point for once, because normally I need to get a transfusion like almost weekly, because I'm pretty anemic.
That's great news.
Yeah.
That's fantastic to hear. We're glad that things are looking up and up for you. What's your experiences like at the Jimmy Fund? Because we're here, we're having these stories. We see how emotional it is. It's tugging at my heart as well. I'm sure Julian's feeling the same thing. And I want people to understand that the donations that we ask you for, the contributions, it goes to causes like that help you at the Jimmy Fund. Like, what's your experience like for those of us who aren't there?
The Jimmy Fund is actually very lovely. The first time I went there to meet my team, like, they always have it decorated with balloons and stuff, and any kind of holiday, it was Pig Day, well, Pig Week for them. And it made me, it was a nice, comforting environment. Even though it's so sad, it's also amazing to see all the little kids running around, too, and playing. I like seeing my little siblings play with them. They have a really nice teen area with lots of arts and crafts, and that's good for the long days, because it's like several doctor's appointments in one, so really long days. And they recently have a young adult room that's across the bridge, and that being run is really good. They're doing book club, game nights there. It's really nice. They're doing their best to make it as comfortable as possible, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, we're hearing that as well. I mean, you're here with something that nobody would ever want to go through, but the fact that the Jimmy Fund makes it that much better, and it's always positive as well. So much positivity in my visit there. That's what I picked up on, and you leave feeling a little bit better.
Yes. Everyone there is like the sweetest people alive. And then we have amazing Lisa, who plans a whole bunch of trips.
She's fantastic, isn't she?
She is.
She really
Very
is.
early into my treatment. My first trip I went on was the spring training one when we went to Florida.
Yeah, how was that?
It was super fun. I got to celebrate my 18th birthday on the second day on the trip. And the Red Sox sang me happy birthday. And I got to say, play ball. And Lisa gave me a nice present with some candy and a stuffed animal. It was great.
That's amazing.
Who had the best voice?
On the team, yeah.
The singing.
I'm not sure. I think Tristan.
Of course. That sounds just like him, Tristan Casas. Well, Hannah, Trisha, thank you so much for sharing your story, because I think it's important for people to hear it, because this is not something that just affects Hannah, but it affects the entire family. And the contributions that we asked for today goes to trying to fund research and doing our part to try and make cancer eradicated. So we thank you for spending some time with us this morning and we appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you
Thank
for
you,
having
guys.
us.
And you're in theater too, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, she was the perfect act. This is her stage. So,
Oh,
happy to now be joined by two special guests here. We got Joe Sapiga and his son, Sean, over here as well. Sarah is in the background. Mom Michelle is over there also as a support group. Your tribe is over there bringing you in. How you feeling today? Thanks so much for being with us.
I'm feeling great, and this is an extreme honor to be part of this Jimmy Fund. You know, I've grown up watching the Red Sox, grown up seeing the Jimmy Fund Telethon, and, you know, to be part of it on this side of the fence is kind of surreal.
Well, you were diagnosed. Am I correct that you were diagnosed 2 years ago with acute lymphoblastic leukemia?
Yes, that's correct.
And at that point, first of all, how difficult is it to, what had led up to that diagnosis?
I had been feeling unwell, you know, for lack of better terms, you know, almost like COVID type symptoms, always tired, just not feeling generally well, some fevers now and again. And, you know, went through the primary care physicians, you know, what's going on. I usually would never be sick for more than a couple of days, and I would bounce right back and it would be me. This went on for nearly a month of just continuously feeling worse, continuously going back to the doctors, back to the emergency room, like something's wrong. And I don't know, and no one could really figure it out. Finally, after about a month, I walked into the ER in my town and said, "You need to find out what's going on with me. This is not going away. It's been 4 or 5 weeks of feeling ill." Basically told them, "I'm not leaving until you tell me what's wrong." And then that's when we got the news.
And then once you did get that diagnosis, you said, you mentioned the lifelong connection to the Red Sox and, and certainly familiarity with Dana-Farber and the Jimmy Fund. It sounds like you basically said, "I'm going to Dana-Farber and nowhere else."
Pretty much. You know, they had said, you know, we might try to send you to a different hospital, and I just outright refused and said, "No, I'm going to Dana-Farber."
Sean, any pushback on that?
No, I mean, that's exactly what he did. I think the craziest thing was he only missed like a week of work after that. Like he wouldn't give up. You know, he kept working, kept supporting us, and we supported him. And he's the hardest working man I know. So try to be like him.
We just we had some images there of you guys, family outings and things of that nature. I'm curious, Sean, as the oldest, because you were 16 at the time when your dad got this diagnosis. How did it affect you and your family?
Oh man, it was hard. I was in school, obviously, and it was right around Easter. I think you went in, and I went back to school, and I was trying to focus on my work and all that, and it was hard because one of the biggest supports I have is in Boston, 2 hours away, and all I can do is text him to talk to him. I mean, I'd come home from school and we'd drive up to Boston to see him, and it was hard to focus, especially for me and for my sister. So, and my mom, she continued working and supporting him. So,
Take us through the treatment.
Yeah,
you are now
cancer-free. Fantastic.
Cancer-free as of late May of this year. So,
which is an incredible thing to hear, and congratulations to all of you guys, to all of this beautiful family.
it still hasn't really registered yet, quite yet.
But in order the treatment process over those 2 years,
that journey.
what was
Nothing short of brutal.
yeah.
I was in a trial drug program that I volunteered for. You know, early on in my treatment, my oncologist asked me, Dr. Weiner, got to give him a shout out, asked me if I'd participate in a trial drug, and I thought, sure. Cancer treatment today isn't where it is without people actually going into these trial programs to make the research better. And I was hoping, what have I got to lose at this point? Might as well try to pay it forward and help the research that, this wonderful, these people are just amazing, the work that they do. So that was the only way I could really give back at the time.
How much does it mean to you, Sean, to have those magical words "cancer free" associated with your dad now?
Oh, it's amazing, man. when it first happened, I was you think the worst. Cancer, it's terrible. You hear it and you're like, wow, that's so. To see him fight through that, and 2 years later he beats cancer, it means a lot, and I'm very proud of him getting through it, and it's a good feeling to hear cancer free, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, Joe, you won the fight of your life, man.
Yes, it was just, had it not been for my support network, I don't know if I could have done it on my own. Michelle, my wife, can attest that I'm probably the most stubborn person she's ever met. But, she's my personal angel. I could not have done it without her support.
There are a lot of great people in your corner, and there are more now, both in your family
Yes.
and with the Dana-Farber.
Yeah.
And we're so grateful that you could be here to join us today, Joe. And you, Sean, and you, Sarah, and you, Michelle.
Exactly, because this is a special place for you guys. This is where you proposed to your wife. One of the Fenway proposals, right?
I did. 19 years ago.
Wow.
A little over 19 years ago. She's a huge Red Sox fan, more than I was at the time when we met. And I thought, well, what better way to propose than at Fenway Park and up on the Jumbotron? She didn't even notice it at first, and I'm like, hey, look up on the Jumbotron. Obviously, she said yes. It's been awesome ever since. I think when we bought our first house, was around 2004 when the Red Sox were in it for their first title in however many years that was. We sat in our first home with nothing but beach chairs, a milk crate, and a big screen TV that we bought as our first piece of furniture so we could watch the Red Sox win the World Series.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Listen, many more years to you to come, many more anniversary years as well with you and your family. We wish you best health. Thanks so much for being here and sharing your story.
Thank you guys for having me. It's a great honor to be here.
All right, welcome back to Fenway Park as we continue our coverage here. Obie and I have been invited to a birthday party.
Yes.
Henry Johnson's birthday party, along with the Johnson family, Mom Lisa and Dad Scott. Thank you so much for joining us. I love the glove. It's so cute. It's so cute. Hi, Henry.
Perfect
Hi.
size.
How are you?
Henry's been trying to give me the glove, which I take personally because I like to think I can catch a foul ball. But he's like, no, you're going to need this. Little help here. He's 1 year old today.
Wow.
Wow. Yep. Congrats. Such a handsome guy.
Yeah. Oh, my God. And those cupcakes look delicious. You let him get a hold of those.
He's been staring at them.
Henry was diagnosed with neuroblastoma. His 9-month checkup, is that when the revelation was?
Yeah, so he actually didn't have any symptoms at all. We had no idea anything was wrong. We just took him to his routine checkup, and that day the nurse practitioner was feeling his belly, just her normal exam, and she found a mass in his abdomen. So she sent us to the emergency room at Children's that day to get some imaging and to kind of figure out what was going on. And so that day, he had an ultrasound, and they weren't able to tell us at that time that it was neuroblastoma, but they told us they were certain that it was cancer. So the next while was spent just doing a little bit more workup to figure out what it was.
You speak now so matter-of-factly, but at the time in the moment, I can't imagine.
It was the longest day ever, that Friday.
Yeah.
And just not knowing what was going to happen.
What's the first thing that goes through your mind as parents?
It's terrifying. I mean, cancer was the my biggest fear for Henry, but that I never actually thought was going to happen. You hear it and you think, like, this can't really be happening. This isn't happening to me. To Henry.
But yeah, you look at him and you're like, he's a ball of fire.
You would
right?
never know. Yeah.
He's ready to rock and
He doesn't
roll.
have cancer.
No, there's no way on earth that could happen, right?
Right.
And you're a pediatric oncology nurse.
Yeah. I work at Boston Children's, so on the inpatient side. So obviously I knew that these things happen, but again, you never think it's going to happen to you.
Right.
Can you talk about the treatment a little bit, what he's been through, what your family's been through?
Yeah. So for Henry, because it's intermediate risk, he's able to get all of his treatment outpatient at the Jimmy Fund, which has been amazing. we haven't really had to spend much time in the hospital sleeping over there, which helps keep things a little bit more normal for Henry and for us. We're starting with chemo, so he's had 3 cycles of chemo so far. And right now we have 2 more scheduled, and then we're hoping for a surgery to remove the tumor after that. And if everything looks good after that, then he'll be done.
So they're reducing the size of the tumor.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And look, I mean, I can't. You look at him and you're like, this hasn't happened to him.
No, I know.
It's incredible.
It is.
He's a tough little guy.
He is.
Wow.
He's really inspired all of us. I mean, I think half the things he's been through, we could never tolerate as adults. So.
You spoke a little bit about the Jimmy Fund, but just detail some of the experiences there, the people that are there, how they make you feel comfortable.
It's really incredible. I mean, it's hard to describe the energy that's there, but the second you walk in, you just feel it. You don't feel like you're walking into a cancer center. It's bright. There's kids running around playing with crafts and games and just being kids, and it's really welcoming. I think pediatric oncology is such a unique field. It's not something you fall into. It's something you choose. And so every single person who works there has chosen to be there, and you can really feel that. And you know that they want to be there, and every single person goes the extra mile to just make his day a little better, make our day a little better. You know, everyone remembers his name. They remember what toys he likes.
Well, he's pretty unforgettable.
Yeah. True.
Yeah, everyone there's fantastic. The doctors and nurses. It just makes you feel like at home.
Yeah. And they really make you feel like you're not going through it alone. And I think that's what everyone going through this wants to feel. So.
But every parent of a 1-year-old child has been in your shoes in just the one way. This is your life. Your entire universe revolves around this little guy. And then for someone to say, he's ill. He doesn't look it, but he's ill. He needs treatment, and he needs incredibly serious treatment. And look at this. I mean, he smiles in the face of it, but we've all been there, every parent, at least in that regard. But we wish it'll never happen to us. But it did happen to you guys.
Yeah. I mean, it's very surreal. I think it definitely took a long time to actually set in and actually realize that this isn't just a terrible dream and this is happening. But at the same time, I mean, as if he's doing this, like when he's good, we're good. So
sure.
Yeah, that's when the easiest is him.
Yeah.
Like he hasn't really been that sick like a few times, but he's always smiling, and that makes it easier for us.
Henry, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Henry.
Thanks for coming on your birthday and sharing your cupcakes.
These are for you, buddy. Dive right in.
Yeah, get it quick.
You can have one.
I'm looking at the one with the raspberry on top, so. Oh, there you go. Oh, yeah. Ooh. Take a big bite. Go ahead.
Just going to wait till he's off camera.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Devour all.
Come on, Mom and Dad. Don't put me on the spot. Guys, thank you so much for joining us, and best of luck.
What a treat to meet all three of you, really.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
We'll see you again soon.
Welcome some more guests here to our Fenway studio. Andrew Chartelli, how are you, sir? Nice to see you.
Great, guys. Thanks for having us.
Along with Danny and Parker over there on the end. How you guys doing?
Good.
Good. I like how you're representing Milford right there.
Yeah, I'm going to assume that you're baseball fans, yeah?
Yeah.
Baseball fans, big baseball family here. We got a couple players.
I love to hear that. Love to see it. How cool is it to be here at Fenway?
I'm super excited. Yeah.
Yeah. You guys going to stay for the game? You got to go home. You got to go home, right?
Yeah.
No.
Of course you're going to stay. You're here.
Which is more exciting, the ballpark or the TV studio?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's pretty cool being on live TV.
It's got to be fun.
Yeah, all right, that's pretty
course.
cool too. But the Red Sox game will be awesome. Andrew, just talk a little bit about how you were diagnosed with colorectal cancer.
Yeah. So first of all, before we start, I just want to say thank you to NESN and the Jimmy Fund and Dana-Farber for having us here today. I mean, this is a great honor just to be a part of this, the radio-telethon. So thank you. My journey with colorectal cancer started back in January when I was diagnosed. Before that, I had some symptoms leading up to my diagnosis that, in hindsight were overlooked. I maybe went too long without, diving into the colonoscopy and the diagnosis. In the year prior to my diagnosis, I went through a divorce and attributed a lot of my symptoms to stress. Something that, should have been looked at earlier, GI, intestinal issues. So finally, during a week-long hunting trip in Idaho, I came to a head, and I said I have to go see my doctor. Went to see my primary care doctor. They referred me to a gastroenterologist. Gastroenterologist ordered a colonoscopy, and the colonoscopy revealed, a 4-inch tumor, 11 centimeters. So they rushed us right into to get in with Dana-Farber, and that was the best decision we ever made.
I want you, if you can, to talk about it. Getting the colonoscopy from the standpoint of guys not doing it enough.
Yes.
I mean, you are literally manly man on a hunting trip.
Yeah. I mean, you have a little bit of stomach issues. You kind of write it off, stress, I'm out in the woods, whatever. But there is a stigmatism about, colorectal cancer and getting the colonoscopy that people say, I'm not going to do that. I don't want to do that. Well, they moved the screening from 50 to 45 for a reason. And there's, even at 45, 60% of people just ignore the go to the colonoscopy, which is a huge mistake because colorectal cancer is growing, and Dana-Farber, other scientists and researchers can't find out why. They don't know why. But young onset colorectal cancer is becoming a major problem for men and women under 50.
Absolutely.
How was your treatment and your experience, Dana-Farber?
Oh my gosh! I mean, Dana-Farber, I just can't say enough good things about them. The doctors, the oncologists. We looked at maybe a couple of other options for treatment, other hospitals. But once you go into Dana-Farber, you meet these people, and they have a customized approach to what you're going through. These people are the tip of the sword when it comes to treatment, surgery, options for treatment, keeping you comfortable through the entire process. The nurses, the doctors, it's just an amazing place.
What was your focal point to help you get through it all? You talked about stress that you thought you were going through, and when it turns out to be cancer, where does your mind go to, I got to get through this for what?
Yeah, so by the time they got to my cancer, it was advanced, stage 3 T4B colorectal cancer. So they had to treat it fairly aggressively. There's radiation, chemotherapy, and surgery. I'm going to get all three eventually. I got through the first 2 parts, so one more to go. But just having these guys and being there for them was my driving factor. I mean, I coached them in 4 baseball teams this year?
3.
3 for you, and 1 for her.
Is Dad a good coach?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. There you go.
Yeah.
Bringing endorsement.
Prospects.
Yeah, so 4 teams. But coaching was a huge driving factor for me. You have days where you don't feel great, where you're tired, but, having the doubleheader and having to put one foot in front of the other, it was, go time.
So I would imagine, too, coming on here, it's obviously to, tell people about your experience at Dana-Farber and Jimmy Fund, but also to raise awareness and to not ignore symptoms and just dismiss them as something.
Don't ignore symptoms. I mean, even if you're under the age of 40, if you're in your 30s, if you feel like you have something going on down there, get it checked because this disease is becoming more and more prominent. It's going to be the leading cause of cancer deaths in adults under 50 by the year 2030.
All right. Well, Dan Chardelli, we appreciate seeing you here. Glad you're doing well.
Thank you for having us.
Danny and Parker.
Yeah, two superstars.
Yeah, there you go. Dad's coaching well. Keep playing, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Love to see it. Enjoy the game tonight, too. Oh, by the way, hold on. You ever throw out the first pitch?
Throwing out the first pitch, yeah.
Hey!
You ready to go?
I'm ready to go.
got
I had a
it.
question. Should I go for speed or for
Accuracy.
Come on.
Accuracy.
Let's do both.
No.
Yeah, do both.
Get it over the plate, because if it doesn't, then none of the kids that you coach are going to look at you and ever listening.
Some of them are listening.
Maybe you tear your UCL, but you know what? If you throw it hard over the plate, who cares, right?
Yeah,
You just
put
get
some
it fixed.
cheese on
No
it,
big
for
deal.
sure.
How many
Put some
times do you
cheese on it.
throw
We'll
at
get it.
Fenway Park?
All right.
Awesome. Thank you guys
All right,
very much.
Don't leave me hanging. Don't leave me hanging.
Thanks, guys.